Welcome back to another video, guys. I apologize in advance if my voice is just a bit off. I've been sick for well over a week now, and I am just now starting to recover. If you happen to be new here, my name is Anna, and today we're gonna shed some light on a topic I feel like no one really talks about, and that is jealousy. It's kind of one of those things that we like to ignore about ourselves or try not to admit that we are jealous. It's quite a shameful emotion, I suppose, and it's one of those emotions that can really sneak up on us, and no one is immune to it. Women get jealous of other women for their beauty, and men get jealous of other men for the way that they are able to provide for their families. It's like one minute you are feeling fine, and the next you are comparing yourself to someone else and feeling all sorts of negative emotions. And the Bible has a lot to say about jealousy, and it's worth taking a closer look at what we can learn from it. Jealousy is basically when you feel envious or resentful because someone else has something that you don't. And this kind of jealousy is a sin and is not a characteristic of a Christian. Rather, it shows that we are still being controlled by our own desires. 1 Corinthians 3:3 says, "You are still worldly. For since there is jealousy and quarreling among you, are you not worldly? Are you not acting like mere humans?" And Galatians 5:26 says, "Let us not become conceited, provoking and envying each other." It might be their success, possessions, or even their relationships. We can easily get caught in thoughts like, why don't I make that kind of money? Why doesn't my body look like hers? Why are they married to someone amazing and I'm not? But James 3:16 puts it plainly. It says, "For where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you find disorder and every evil practice." Jealousy is one of those emotions that can really, really mess things up if we're not careful. The Bible has some pretty intense stories around jealousy, and one of the most eye-opening is the story of Joseph and his brothers. It is a classic tale of how jealousy can destroy relationships and cause a lot of pain. So Joseph was the favorite son of Jacob, and it wasn't exactly a secret. Jacob gave Joseph this amazing coat, like a fancy multicolored robe, which made his brothers super jealous. In Genesis 37, 3 through 4, it says, "Now Israel loved Joseph more than any of his other sons. When his brothers saw that their father loved him more, they hated him and could not speak a kind word to him." That favoritism really sparked some serious jealousy among the siblings. So, to make matters worse, Joseph had these dreams where he saw himself ruling over his family. And naturally, when he shared these dreams, it did not go well. Genesis 37, 5 through 8, we see that his brothers hated him even more because of his dreams and what they implied. And their jealousy just really started building up, and it was only a matter of time before it exploded. So, to make a pretty long story short, Joseph's brothers, they wanted to get rid of him. They hated him that much, and jealousy built up inside of them so much that they planned to kill him. But the oldest brother, Reuben, suggested they throw him into a pit instead, hoping to save him later. But while Reuben was away, the other brothers sold Joseph to a caravan of Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. And then they took Joseph's coat, they dipped it in goat's blood, and then they convinced their father that Joseph had been killed by a wild animal. And this act of jealousy absolutely broke their father's heart. I don't think that we think about this enough, but the consequences of everything that we do and every sin that we commit, it ripples. We like to think that when we do something wrong, that it only hurts us, right? But that's never the case. Our sin always affects other people around us and it hurts other people. So it just continues to domino. By the grace of God, though, there is a plot twist to this story. Even though Joseph faced incredible hardships, being sold into slavery, falsely accused, imprisoned, he remained faithful and eventually rose to power in Egypt. And during a severe famine, his brothers came to Egypt looking for food, not realizing Joseph was now in charge. And when Joseph revealed his identity, he did not seek revenge. Instead, he forgave them. In Genesis 45, 4 through 5, Joseph says, I am your brother Joseph, the one you sold into Egypt. And now do not be distressed, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you. So his forgiveness brought so much healing, and it even restored their family. So something to really learn from this story, though, is how jealousy destroys relationships. The brothers' jealousy led to betrayal and deceit, and it tore their family apart. And like I was just saying a minute ago, it never ends with you. Your sin always goes deeper and affects so many other people. The second lesson is that despite everything, Joseph stayed true to his faith and eventually saw God's plan unfold. So I guess it just kind of shows the resilience and the faith, no matter what other people do around us that is sinful, and no matter how bad things seem like they can get, they are never bigger than our God. And if we're obedient to him, he will always make a way, right? He's our way maker, and he always does that. Number 3, another lesson is forgiveness and reconciliation. Joseph's ability to forgive his brothers shows the power of forgiveness to heal and restore. The whole story is really just a powerful reminder of how destructive jealousy can be, but also how forgiveness and faith can turn things around. It's a lesson in keeping our hearts in check and trusting that even when things look bleak, there's a bigger plan at work. Proverbs 14:30 says, "A heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones." That is a pretty vivid image. It shows how jealousy can eat away at us from the inside. And Galatians 5:19 through 21 even lists jealousy as one of the acts of the flesh, warning that those who practice such things will not inherit the kingdom of God. So we really need to figure out how we're going to overcome jealousy. And one of the biggest ways is by cultivating contentment. We talk about this all the time on this channel, and I think that is something that the Lord just really, really wants from us. It's all about focusing on what we have and trusting that God will provide what we need. And when we do that, there is less room for jealousy to take root. And also realizing that we miss out on God's plan for us because we're too wrapped up in someone else's chapter 20 when we are just on chapter 3, if that makes sense. God has a beautiful story for all of us if we just trust that He knows best. Another key factor here is love. Everyone knows the classic Corinthians 13. It reminds us that love is patient, love is kind, it doesn't envy, it doesn't boast, it's not proud. If we aim to love others genuinely, then there's no room, there's no place for jealousy. And Romans 12:15 also encourages us to rejoice with those who rejoice and mourn with those who mourn. Sharing in others' joy and sorrow helps build a sense of community, and it greatly reduces envy. So I want to leave you with some practical steps to overcome your jealousy. And number one, you may have never thought of, but it's so powerful, and that is to confess your jealousy to the person that you're jealous of, if you can, of course. Like if it's a friend or someone that you're close to, you can share with them that you are feeling jealous of them and talk about it. And you would not believe the power that it loses when you do that. Number two would be daily gratitude. Just really sit down and focus on the things that you are so thankful for. This simple practice can shift your focus from what you lack to what you have. Number three, limit comparisons. It is obviously so easy to compare ourselves now more than ever. It used to be just keeping up with the Joneses next door, but now we have to keep up with everyone across the world on social media. So try to limit your time on these platforms and just focus on yourself, focus on your own life. Number four, pray for others. When you feel jealous, pray for the person that you're feeling envious of. And it is hard to stay jealous when you're asking God to bless that person. Number five, celebrate others. Make it a point to celebrate the successes of others. It'll help you develop a genuine appreciation for their achievements. And number six, seek contentment. Focus on contentment in your own life. Pray for contentment. Ask the Lord to help you in that area as well. Jealousy is a natural emotion, but the Bible gives us clear guidance on its dangers and how to overcome it. Trusting in God's plan for our lives is crucial. Jeremiah 29:11 reassures us and says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." When we believe that God has a unique and wonderful plan for each of us, it helps combat feelings of jealousy. We can rest in the knowledge that God knows what's best for us, even if it's not what other people have. Remember, it's about progress, not perfection. We are all on this journey together, and with God's help, we can navigate these tricky emotions and find more joy in our lives, focusing on what's truly important.